Project the Perceiver is the just-announced open-world action game set in an ancient Chinese background and art style. The developer behind it, Paper Games, which is mostly known for producing visual novel games by the way, came out of nowhere with this game reveal and took everyone by surprise. The most notable things from this trailer are the amazing graphics, smooth animations, and impressive gameplay that seems to take a lot of inspiration from games like Sekiro. This 7-minute long trailer has a lot of things to cover both in terms of the story and gameplay mechanics, so we decided to make a deep dive video analysis of it to explain what this new upcoming game is all about. The beginning part of the trailer introduces us to the main protagonist who gracefully dances with a sword on a peaceful theater stage. Suddenly, the sword falls down on the floor and the scene quickly changes into a battlefield covered in flames. Here, the protagonist gets shot by the arrows, and while falling down, the scene starts switching back and forth between the battlefield and the stage in different time and space. After these last words, the protagonist keeps falling down to the deep waters. A mysterious mask then appears that revives him and grants immense power, thus providing our protagonist with a second chance to fight back the invading party. The overall lore and gameplay is closely tied with the idea of different masks and powers behind each of them, but we'll come back to this point a little bit later. We found that although Project the Perceiver is set in a fictional universe, there are some historical references hinting that the protagonist is very likely to be a descendant of the ruling family of Li during the Tang Dynasty period, also known as China's Golden Age by the way. After this brief introduction to the world setting, the footage goes straight into showcasing the basic combat where we can instantly tell how it emphasizes a more aggressive and parry-based playstyle similar to Sekiro. The footage of environment design and traversal also suggests that there is a big degree of freedom when it comes to character controls and exploration. The UI in the bottom left corner for now looks pretty simple, but with a very distinct mask icon which probably indicates the current character status. Next to it there is also a temporarily disabled icon that is very likely to be an active skill slot for a special item or an ability. Another interesting UI element that we have right next to the character is a sidebar that fills up with each attack or a successful parry. In the second fight sequence, after the bar is fully charged, we can notice that it allows the character to use different skill moves or temporary buffs that consume the set energy. In this fight scene, we can also see different fighting stances where the standard stance translates as the facet of play, and then there is the second form which can be translated as the facet of defending blades. Switching between these two stances also drastically changes the character's appearance. At its core, it seems that the combat puts emphasis on rewarding the player for a more aggressive playstyle approach. Different masks or stances also have their unique looking energy bar indicators, and it's important to note that unlike in Sekiro, the block ability here doesn't have a stance meter for breaking it. The game also focuses more on attack streaks, energy buildup, and execution of special moves or skills, which is also pretty similar to the combat mechanics in Ghost of Tsushima. After these first couple of action sequences, we step into our first boss fight where more details for lore and the complex combat mechanics are being revealed. After a brief exchange between the two, during this boss fight we can see the full potential of the facet of play stance. It seems that the main function of this stance is about keeping the energy balance with parries and attacks and then using the charged energy for various combat skills or special moves. We can also notice that there are other 3 smaller indicators that become red once charged, and later can be used for even more fierce burst attacks. In addition, we notice that different stances also have additional active skills. The Chinese characters that were briefly flashed to us during the trailer can be translated as control, avoidance, and fate. The role of these skills is something similar to the prosthetic tool in Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. After activating the skill, it can trigger dodging, parry, or a counterattack. After defeating the boss, the main character puts on his mask and turns into the boss form, thus consuming his powers. At this moment, it seems that switching between different masks not only can grant players the new boss abilities, but perhaps also let them play as the boss character that we just fought. The end part of the trailer indicates that this is likely the case, and we will get to that point in a moment. Later, the beautiful sceneries and different environments are shown to us with a mix of action sequences. There is this snowy mountain area that closely resembles of Taihang Mountains in the Inner Mongolia region, and there is some sort of an illusory moving maze as if it was inspired by the Doctor Strange movie. From the trailer, all of it just looks incredibly polished. In the last battle sequence with the mysterious woman, the idea of utilizing different masks and playing as different characters is fully revealed to us. The protagonist seemingly switches his appearance multiple times, taking the form and abilities of completely different characters. More weapon styles are also being shown here, and it all looks pretty cool even though it's just a pre-rendered cinematic footage. With this trailer, we can all see the initial variety of gameplay options and possibilities that the developers intend to put into this game. The combat in particular mixes different mechanics of the best action games currently available on the market, and the idea behind it is pretty ambitious to say the least. It's worth mentioning that the world setting and concept here doesn't lack creativity or imagination either. Considering that the developer is planning for this game to be cross-platform, even to mobile, is kind of ridiculous. I can't fathom how it will actually run on mobile devices. I mean, just look at these graphics. If the game is going to be available on multiple platforms, will it have a cross-play functionality, and is it going to be a free-to-play title or a full-fledged premium game? We will have to wait for the next announcement from the developer to answer these questions. All in all, I can't wait to know more about this game in the near future, but it will probably take another 2 or 3 years until we can have the final look at it. You can now follow Project the Perceiver on TapTap and get notified whenever they post any news about the game. That's it from us for today. Thank you for watching, and we will see you next time.